We couldn't start without you.
Brother, all right.
We couldn't start. Let's,
I got my mask so I can fit in with you.
We got Mr. Thom, the only survivor.
Alright, so you guys can just pass that mic back and forth, and you can have that one.
Okay.
If that's cool.
Keep that one. We got a big mouth.
Excuse me?
You can keep the mic.
You talk more
got-
than I talk.
I got a big mouth.
You guys are talking, Jason. Chatterbox.
So, how's everyone doing?
Yeah!
Happy to be here. I think you can do better than that for this bonus.
Yeah.
Let's go! Welcome, gentlemen. How you doing?
Good.
How's the show
Good.
been? Has it been good?
It's been good.
It's good. Happy to be back to the cons, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right, so I want to start us off by asking you all, how did you become involved in the franchise? Let's start with CJ.
I won't go first.
Start with Thom.
Just kidding. I just got to throw that.
I was actually hired before CJ, so.
Yeah, he was hired before me and done a lot more acting before me too, and after me. So, Thom.
For me, it was just my agent sent me the sides to read for Tommy, and I went to the casting director, and then went to Paramount, and Tom McLaughlin was there, and the producers, Frank Mancuso Jr. and his wife was there, who ended up doing all the music and stuff like that. And there's probably 12 people. And I was reading against 2 other guys for the role, and I ended up getting it.
That's
And
awesome.
that was it. And then
Yeah.
off to Cummington, Georgia to film. So that's how we did it.
Yeah. Warrington?
Well, it seems like many lifetimes ago,
Right?
your life is comprised of all these chapters, and hopefully they get better as you go. But this chapter was in New York. I, like everybody else, you go through your acting schools and do all that. Then you go out, you get an agent. Agent starts submitting you for stuff that you might be ready for. So at the time, I had an agent, and I believe they submitted me to read for the John Fury part of Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
And so okay, great. Love to be a counselor at the camp. No one really discussed Jason because Jason didn't really exist too much before part 2.
Yeah.
I mean, so you didn't really know what to expect if Jason came up in conversation, like who, what, yeah, the kid at the lake. You didn't really know. The script that you got did not say Friday the 13th. Actually, it said Jason right across the top. So anyway, for me personally, I read for the John Fury part, I met everybody, and in the final furlong, they took John Fury. I forgot his name in the movie. So then they said to me, they said, oh, well, do you want to be Jason? So I said, well, sure. What is it, what do I need to do? And so I'm looking through the script. Well, the first letdown was he doesn't say a whole lot. Like, well, what? You're an actor and you're all excited. You got this great part. But what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Oh, sure. I love to do anything you want me to do. Then they said, oh, well, can we shave your head? Or, excuse me? Can we, and you're young. You don't really want to get all your hair chopped off, huh? Anyway, we went through the process, and it happened. And so then they said, well, we want you to be Jason.
Yes.
So that was kind of how it flew. And I got it warmed up for the big guy over here.
And I'll just yell at you guys. I was just real fortunate. I ran a nightclub in Los Angeles. Sometimes luck is involved. I wasn't really into the industry as the other 2 gentlemen to my right. But I was lucky enough to get the part after the fact. The first Jason did a scene that's still in there with the paintballs. It wasn't quite as successful as they were looking for as far as imaging. And I got to meet Frank Mancuso. Never met the wife though, I gotta be honest, and everybody at Paramount. And you know what, things didn't come back well in the first daily. And for 4 days later, I was in Cummington putting on the role and working with Thom.
And yeah, you were not the original choice, right?
Correct.
Right.
So the paintball scene, most people just kind of go, he's wearing pads. Well, the man's a little thicker than me, but people just assume with paintballs, you put padding on. But he's went on to have a very, very, very successful career, not just directing, producing, and stunt coordinator. So, I mean, I don't think he's upset about it, to be quite honest. And I'm very fortunate, 3 decades later, to be sitting there talking about it, so thank you.
Yeah. And Warrington and CJ, you guys were not stuntmen, right?
No, I'd never done a stunt in my life, so I'd never been to stunt school, so everything you see, which is me, and working with Thom, who did probably 85% of his stunts underwater with me, we just winged it. We did our job. I mean, being set on fire, breathing off regulators, going through walls. It wasn't my forte, but I was in my mid-20s and a badass. I've only been out of the military a few years, so I thought I was pretty bad. And, as you get older, you don't tuck and roll, you go thump down. But in those days, I could tuck and roll. So, but no, I wasn't a stunt individual, never been to school. And it was just fortunate that, number one, I didn't hurt anybody, Thom included. They were all very humble about letting me work with them. And then more importantly, that I think we delivered a successful product.
Yeah, and they really set you on fire?
Yes.
Okay.
I did go to stunt school
Yeah.
in Los Angeles because I went out there and you could do all the acting schools out there. And I've always been a good athlete, so I said, yeah, I'll go to Hollywood Stuntman Association School out in the Valley. But let me tell you something, you're just doing stuff, you got a lot of jumps, tuck and roll, a lot of fighting and fighting the camera over there. And, there were no window jumps. So when I did a window jump, no, I'd never done one before. I was not I was only 20, younger. I'd never jumped through windows before. So it's not like the director is all there, Steve Miner. Did they really expect me to be an older man, seasoned, buffed out stunt guy? No, that wasn't what I was. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
How many floors were you on when you jumped through the window?
No, this was in the cabin out of Crystal Lake.
I got you.
And to this day, I have no idea when they come up with this story that there was a winch. I don't know what a winch is. There was nothing hooked on my ass.
It's a woman from the 1800s.
And there was no winch on my ass tied to a cherry picker up in the sky that threw me in an arc and then in an arc and then threw me into the house. No, this was a cabin, simple, stupid cabin. And they were spending the least amount of money possible. And on the outside of the window, outside of the cabin, they built a platform, no wider than 4 feet. So I timed it. 1, 2, 3, take off, like jumping a fence on a horse. 1, 2, 3, you're gone. And there's no practice. Do it. And that was it. It was no big deal. There was no winches, cherry pickers, and cranes on my ass to get me through a window. No. And to this day, I don't know why people even bring it up. I'd love to talk to the stunt coordinator and say, dude, what are you talking about? Because the first time I hit the window, since I was an inexperienced stunt guy and a young guy, I ricocheted right off the window.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, I didn't know what it meant to score. We got to score some boards. Oh, score the boards? What is that? Well, they cut through half of it, right?
Like that's a hockey term, right?
And you got to hit it hard to go through
It
it.
sounds like it was a real window too. It wasn't one of these fake windows.
No, I think it was thin plexiglass, and then they wanted you to have your real skin hitting the plexiglass.
Wow.
So it was thin plexiglass, and you got to hit it. So, I wasn't that heavy at the time. It wasn't like I was a 250 CJ Grant going through a window. I mean, come on. I hit it and ricocheted off of it. And then they're all getting mad at me. It's like, what are you getting mad at me for? I hadn't done this 100 times. Yeah. Anyway, but how history goes, and I'll let you guys talk. That scene got an award, best scene ever made in horror.
No kidding.
Really?
And so here it was all comprised of people that didn't really know what the hell they were doing. It was the first time we were doing it. Come on, it was a 28-day shoot to make the whole movie. And no one even knew what Jason was going to look like, too. We were figuring out that as we went along with Carl Fullerton. It was whatever. You go ahead.
Did you do any of your stunts as well? You said
I
you
did, yeah, I did
all
all the stunts. I do remember, because you were talking about being inexperienced, I did another movie where I take a knife in my hand and I fall backwards, I fall out of frame, and I fall onto a mattress. Well, that was during rehearsal. When we actually shot it, I took one too many steps and fell backwards and missed the mattress.
Oh, no.
And it's bad when you hear the stunt guy goes, ooh. Ooh, that must have hurt.
He's green.
But yeah, I like doing my own stunts if the insurance company will let you get away with it.
No,
It's
I
fun for
mean,
me.
sincerely, Tom did. I mean, I was no experienced either, but when I'm down there, and I was chained down, I wasn't going anywhere, the real chain. But he'd come down and allow me to choke the shit out of him and try to figure out who's gonna lose air first, because we're both just in a rhythm and we're signaling for air. And, to be careful I don't hurt him and to move him up like the water when he starts to float.
They want bubbles come on you.
Yeah,
They
Tom
wanna
did
see
everything, though. He was
Oxygen
right
out of your
on.
mouth. They want to see the bubbles.
Yeah, I think.
And did you sign a release, like if you were down
I
there
got a
too
paycheck.
long?
Hey, son,
I usually do a release
If I
like
kill
this. I
Thom
drowned.
Mathews, I'm not
No one has any
responsible.
culpability
I got a
here.
paycheck. It didn't bounce either.
But did you sign a release?
I don't remember.
What a stud! You're gonna chain an actor down the bottom of the pool.
I was physically chained. That's
Chain him
Oh,
down.
yeah.
Talk about risk. Talk about
real
risk.
chain standing on a center block.
And they had tanks of air on the
Yeah.
side.
No, they have divers.
Yeah.
And the divers are bringing you air and they come back up.
Signal,
No,
they
they'd be-
swim in,
they'd be
just
off
lift my
camera.
mask, and
They'd be right
And what
on.
happens to the divers if they have a problem?
I'm in trouble.
Oh,
Seriously.
And what if the tanks are empty?
I'm really in deep shit.
You got set
He
on
was
fire
looking-
and chained to the bottom.
But at least Tom knew reasonably he could get to the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, he was full of clothing, but
Yeah, the
I
clothes
wasn't.
are
You weren't
heavy.
I wasn't taking that hook off with gloves and already out of air, and it was an Olympic-sized diving pool, so it was 20 feet deep. Just like you see at the Olympics, top one down, dark, cold.
And how much time could you hold your breath down there?
Maybe 10 seconds.
Like a half a minute? A minute?
Maybe
Yeah,
half a minute, maybe.
Yeah.
Between shots.
And it was just a matter of
If you have to
whoever,
blow out your oxygen while he's choking you, it's
Yeah.
even less.
yeah, to make the bubbles.
The guy, I mean, they were literally off camera. If the lens was here, he was right there with you hit your chest and we give you your oxygen.
Yeah, we didn't bounce off no friggin' window.
We weren't exchanging mouth guards either. It was our own mouth guard that they had.
Oh yeah, now one eye was closed, the other eye was wide open, right? So well, what if the shards of glass are going in your eye?
There's no glass.
They said no
Water.
problem. They said that's okay.
Underwater. No glass.
One eye, you
Are
lose
you
your
doing an
depth
interview or
perception.
what? You wanna cut in here?
Good.
It's like,
Talking
like
stunts.
freaking Brad up here, man. We're rolling.
Just let it go.
All right, we got a little more coffee.
Exactly.
Were you
Sorry.
gentlemen horror fans before you got involved in the horror community?
I was a Universal fan, like Frankenstein, Dracula. I'm 64, so I thought those were the coolest. So I look at it a little
Classic
differently.
monsters.
And then when I got the opportunity, I went back and watched part 3 and 4 just to get acclimated to the films. And then for the most part, Tom McLaughlin really asked me he was creating his own new monster. So I didn't really have to follow the footprint of anybody. I was just given direction by Tom.
Yeah.
Like CJ, I would watch Godzilla and The Thing was all.
Yes.
Great,
Yes.
Great. And Alien, of course.
Yes.
That was amazing. I wasn't a Friday fan. I saw the first one, I think, and then went back before I got the role and looked at all the rest of them.
Did your homework?
I tried to do my homework. I was terrified after seeing part 5. I go, what do I get myself into? I was worried it was going to be a continuation.
And you're like, oh. 'Cause
Oh.
they left that on a cliffhanger, or
Yeah.
like, oh wait.
Well, no, the way it was shot and the subject matter and stuff.
Yeah.
There's no breasts in part 6 at all.
No, there's not.
Very clean.
Yeah.
No blood.
That one's all about Jason. Like, it's all
Yeah.
about the brute force Jason.
Yeah.
Part 6 is.
Yeah. And there's a storyline with the Tommy and the sheriff's daughter and stuff like that, which I think people could once you get to know the characters, you can start relating to them and you can, feel something for them. So I think that's why people reacted to part 6 so much. Is one of the favorites that they like.
Yeah. It also has a lot of good comedy in it as well.
A lot of good comedy, beautifully shot. CJ was great, and just the storyline.
Yeah.
It has a
We
story.
grew up with other kind of horror films than what is really deemed to be a horror film of today. Like if we were kids, we'd go and see The Birds. Oh, we'd see The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock was our man. Psycho.
Yeah.
That's our idea of a horror film. Like, oh my God.
Wait until dark.
You know, and then when Friday 13th came around, you kind of looked at it and went, what the hell is going on here? Because we hadn't really seen, I personally hadn't really seen things like that.
Yeah.
I watched Welcome Back, Kotter and the Jeffersons.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Welcome back. That's why we had Horseshack on
Exactly.
in the opening.
There we
You had to
go.
mess them up, huh?
Yeah.
Your buddy.
There we go.
He gave me a headache that night when he hit me with that shovel. I remember that.
There we go.
He's got a good
He
headache.
clipped you.
He did give me.
There we go.
So let's go to the audience. If there's any questions, we can answer. Yes, sir.
What was your guys' favorite Friday the 13th movie?
I didn't know there were any others in part 6. I'm sorry. What others were there?
You saw the after part six?
Yeah,
Is there
I
something before? I thought they just started at 6.
Don't all movies start at number 6?
I thought so.
yeah, of course I'm too. I mean, and I forgot about it for a while. I went on with my life, like I said before. Your life is going to go on to another chapter. So I decided, okay, what can I do now? Somehow I ended up at Wall Street. So now I'm walking around Wall Street with a machete. And Friday 13th is still going? What? What? What are we up to now? Part 7? What? How could that be?
And now look at us.
Because, you're thinking about other things. You're doing other things with your mind. And then I got to tell you, when I first met CJ, I got a call. I guess it was, I forgot.
Good Morning America.
Good Morning America, but I forgot the anchor. It wasn't Katie
Joe
Kirk.
London.
Joe London called and said, oh, we're up to part 7 now. Part 7 and part 8. Oh, we're doing a big interview. We're going to line up all the Jasons on Good Morning America. I said, what? the brand is still going? What?
Wow.
Then I got to get you the tape. I got to get the tape. I'll post it up. But anyway, yeah, so then we all got together and we were on Good Morning America. And I come in with a suit and tie because there was another chapter.
Yeah.
And here's CJ. All right, CJ.
You gotta do you.
Where are all the Jasons today? And they lined them all up.
Wow.
And that'd be, what would you say, about 10 years later from the beginning?
I know that, there were 6 of us at the time. I know that People Magazine, I remember that Priscilla Presley was on the
Yeah.
cover, and they did a large
Great
interview with
picture.
all the Jasons inside.
I'm going to post that on Instagram.
So,
Great shot.
I probably got a magazine somewhere, but hey, too many blows to the head.
Well, there was a big article in either National Enquirer or the Globe, and then they lined up, where are the Jasons today? They lined them all up. What are they doing? And I don't recall Kane being in it.
I was only through part 6.
So it probably went,
I was the last one when we did that interview at that moment, so
Yeah.
it was for me, it was humbling. And then, when you talk about it, 30 some odd years later, it's like, really? So again,
Really?
thanks.
Wow. Cool story.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite, Jason?
A favorite Jason?
Yeah.
That would be me.
Yeah.
I thought
Favorite
sorry.
part,
Jason
sequel,
movie.
part.
Favorite sequel, yeah.
Which one do you think?
It's funny. Well, that's a hard. I'd have to say it's part 6.
But
That
I
was
think,
just
I think sorry, brother, but I think Ted White did a good job in part 4. I mean, the character is structural. I think Kane pulled it off in part 7. I'm not a big fan of going to Mars and stuff, but no,
I don't think that
But I
works.
think 7 was solid the way it came
Yeah.
through with Lar Park Lincoln and stuff. I think that was interesting. It's unfortunate that the Friday the 13th, we can look at this backwards now, didn't do a Harry Potter where they laid it out over a series.
Yeah.
They just kind of piecemealed it together. Is that fair?
I think they, whatever the flavor of the year was
There you go.
at the blockbuster was, and whether it was in space or 3D, whatever the big thing was pulling in the numbers,
Yeah.
they knocked that off and went with that theme, or they had heard whatever the Warner Brothers was doing,
I think
or
that's
Universal
good.
was doing.
Good assumption, yeah.
So, it's all in the same business.
So when New
they all
York
knocked
was
it off.
hot, okay, we had to do Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
In New York's heyday.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking more of the 3D or some of the other ones.
Any other questions at the moment? Yes.
Warrington and CJ, what was your favorite kills in each of your movies?
Mine's real simple. I enjoyed busting the sheriff's back. No, there's no blood, there's no guts, it's just full power force, bang, ouch. To me, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't know. I'd have to say, and mine would be maybe the Tom McBride when he got the machete in the face and then went backwards in a wheelchair down the whole staircase. And then everybody's scrambling around and saying, well, who's going to get in the wheelchair? Who's going to get in the wheelchair go backwards down the stairs? Oh, what if the cable breaks? What if this breaks? Oh, well, we don't know.
Yeah.
Nice.
They all were, and if you're young, everything you do is bigger than it is today. It's like overwhelming because you've never done it before. Life is bigger. Everything's bigger. The kill scene's bigger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll support you.
Yeah, for sure.
You're freelancing, go for it.
Anytime you do something for the first time, it's new and it's
Yeah.
Exciting and different.
scary and,
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, Tom, who inspired you when you were getting started in acting? Who did you look up to?
Who
Who did you
inspired me? Well, I always,
look to learn from?
I liked Marlon Brando and Dustin Hoffman and Al Pacino and all those guys. That's kind of. I was more of a method actor, I guess. And all those guys kind of did that stuff, so that's what I kind of. And that, even with the other Return of the Living Dead, for me that was a drama, man. It just happens to be horrific, so we played it for real.
Yeah.
And same for Friday the 13th Part 6.
Yeah.
We just give it our all and give it for as much as real as you can. Like you're in that space at that time, being chased by some big ugly guy, maggot head and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Who loves Return of the Living Dead? Everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that one because there are so many Friday the 13th alums in that movie. Not just like from your
Yeah,
movie,
Miguel and
Yeah.
Mark Venturini was in that too.
Right, and we just actually, she's not Friday, but we talked to Linnea
Linnea, yeah.
last night at the
Uh-huh.
panel. So yeah, good times.
Well, you folks may not realize how many different folks that are A-list today that have been in a horror movie in the first phases of their career. I mean,
Yeah.
moons ago, I did a film, Highway to Hell, played Hell Cop. You guys ever heard of Ben Stiller? He was in it for like 6 seconds. No exaggeration. His mom and dad were in it, sister, but he was there for like 6 seconds. Cooking eggs on the side of the street. Okay, what's he get? 25 million maybe? I just want his change. So it is amazing the
Johnny
level.
Depp, what do you
Yeah.
All of them,
All that
you
money.
know.
I'm buddies with George Clooney, and he's got a bit role in a movie that his cousin Miguel was in called The Harvest, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful movie. But he's got a bit part, lip-syncing transsexual.
Oh.
It's like 2 seconds of him moving. He's got a wig on. It's just pretty
I
scary.
mean, Leprechaun, all these,
It's
go back
pretty
and
fun.
look, you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how many
Yeah.
A-listers are, friends.
But I know a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of they wish they would have been in a horror movie. I would die to be in a horror movie. And a bunch of celebrities and stuff like that. They would, back in our day, horror movies were frowned upon, much like being in a soap opera and stuff. But I think they've turned the corner since it. There's actually the Oscars were talking years, probably 5-6 years ago about adding a category. A horror movie category, and I don't know what happened to it.
Well
But,
deserved.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
3 years ago, they did a tribute to horror, and they went through all the different categories within the industry, and they gave each category an award. 3 years ago. You all can check.
There you go.
So, I mean, you guys have done other movies besides Friday the 13th, obviously, and have been going to conventions for a while, meeting a lot of people. Do you ever get starstruck? You ever go, what? That's so-and-so. Or is it just like, whatever?
Go ahead, sir.
I saw Bruce Stern at one, and that kind of like, whoa, it was kind of cool. I went to one that it was like a very eclectic. It wasn't just horror, but it was I sat next to a singer, who just happened to be passing through New York at the time. They reached out to her and she showed up. Aretha Franklin.
Oh,
that was
snap.
kinda cool. So,
Okay.
so we come, we
come across people in the
Yeah.
music industry.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I like you meet Gene Simmons, and you're like, God, you know. Or we're gonna work in Vegas with Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
You know, you run into people that have been doing it for so long. You get a little starstruck, like, God, this guy's.
Yeah, we grew up with Alice Cooper. It was awesome.
And you know, you run into Linda Blair. We love her. My hair still stands up on my arm when I get near her, because then I look at her face, and it sucks me right into that role that she played. God. I even went into her room at the Vegas Tom Devlin's museum. He recreated a Linda Blair room. God, just walking in the room,
Yeah.
you know, you're unsettled. So you get a little starstruck. You run into some people that have had a big run, music. Or,
You know, I did a show a couple years ago in England, and you did get a chance for me to meet everybody. And when you're sitting there and you got Aquaman Jason coming to do a photo op right after you with his crew, or you got Charlie Sheen over there, or Lee Majors down the road signing with you.
or Robert Englund over there.
You just kind of go, this is, for me, wow, this is great. But starstruck, I don't know if it's a good word, respect.
Yeah.
You know, I ran casino resorts for 25 years, so I've had the pleasure of meeting everybody from Alan Jackson to CCR because I signed the checks.
Yeah.
You know, I was the chief operating officer, so when we had all these acts and Alice Cooper and, you know, Melissa Etheridge, whoever it may be, I got a chance to meet everybody because I go backstage, say hi to them. I mean, hey, this is the chief operating officer, you know, the dude that's signing your paycheck and contracted you, and you get to meet him, and it's more humbling for me, just to say thank you for performing at our venue. But I don't know about the word starstruck. I think most people that I've met are just like us, and you don't want to be intrusive,
Right.
you know, but you want to ask questions, and everybody that I know in most cases, they'll answer that question like it's the first time they've ever heard it, even though they may have heard it a million times. And to me, that's a good person, that's a good actor, actress, that really appreciates the fan base, you know, because they get engaged, they look you in the eye, and everybody I've met, everybody, even, like I said, going back to Lee Majors, having an opportunity to meet the $6 million man, just sits there talking about his home in Texas with his wife, and just as humble as pie. You know, so I'm just humbly appreciative to be, you know, not necessarily rubbing elbows, just kind of in the same room.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good for me.
You could meet famous people outside of the environment of a horror convention or a thriller convention or a Comic-Con story. You run into them socially, you know, you're taken back a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, my family were in the horse racing business, and one year we had Elizabeth Taylor give a trophy to the winner of the horse race. So I got to get up on the platform with Liz Taylor. I was like, damn. Look at this woman. And she's hot too. God. You know, we presented the trophy. So you're taken back sometimes. I think CJ used the right word. Like you're in awe or respect of what they've done. And then you're chatting with them.
Yeah.
I was starstruck once. A friend of mine got a gig on Legal Eagles, and I was just standing around, and Robert Redford went walking by, and I was a little starstruck by him.
Yeah, you got to
I
be.
got like, oh man.
The folks that are still the golden age, I mean, you know, the Harry Fonda type of Cary Grant, going back to even Ted White, Part 4. I mean, Ted will sit up here and tell you, and I've heard him say it, so I'm just regurgitating what he said, is guy's done over 100 films, worked with everybody up and down the pike, and everybody just knows him because he played Jason.
Yeah.
And
That's fun.
And it's true. You've heard him say it too, I'm sure. But I will, you know, I mean, Tom's pretty humble.
Well,
he's got a lot of, A-lister friends that he's worked with and slept on his couch.
Well, even Vinny Gustafaro played the deputy. He's done a lot of Mammoth stuff. I mean, he's been Broadway. He's done all these. He goes. The horror fans are just the only ones are just dedicated, and he's just crazy about him, as we all are.
But like
It's
Broadway,
amazing.
you're right. He's done a lot.
Done a lot of
just
stuff.
a lot of stuff on Broadway. It's different, formula of acting.
Same for Jimmy Karen. Even when Jimmy Karen died, he's done a lot of work. What picture did they show when he passed on the Oscars? It was a picture of him and I, as the two shot of us on screen as a memorial. So that's what he was remembered for. He was in Poltergeist and Wall Street, and 8 is Enough and a bunch of stuff.
But whatever I do, if they write a story, Warrington did this, slasher, Friday 13th,
Yeah.
I'm a slasher. I mean, come on. It sticks with you.
And that's a blessing.
Slasher, CJ Graham's in town. Oh,
You're typecast a little bit.
they're going to refer to you as that.
They'll be on your tombstone?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Jason Voorhees, buried here.
Yeah.
Stories, part 6.
And then Tommy will be the sheriff. F that bitch. You know what Tommy will say.
Any other questions at the moment? Yes.
If it was up to you all, where would you like to see the franchise go in the future?
You know, I'm kind of an outsider to all the world, so to speak, but again, I'm looking from a business perspective, running businesses. If I was in charge, we'd be shooting 3 of them in a row with the same Jason, different directors, a formula that's connected, the dots, so there's similarities. I'd put one out, show the other 2, and put them out over the next 36, 48 months. So there's continuity with the storyline to keep the story going. Because the next one is part 13, so it really needs to revolve around historical and go forward. That would be me. Now, I'm thinking business-wise, I don't know the first thing about making a movie, but that's a common sense approach. And I do have a PhD in common sense. So, but these guys are truly the experts when it comes to the film industry, not I.
Well, I think the dumbest thing they could be doing is to argue for 9 years as to who owns the property and the rights and title to the damn property. Because now they've lost momentum. Surely the pandemic has shut everything down for whatever period of time. All the theaters are closed. Maybe they're going to reopen. We hope they do. I don't know. The business took a little time out. It's coming back. But they need to resolve this issue and then get on with it. And I'm old school, so I like kind of the classics. I don't like to hear young people come up and laugh and they go, oh, the new ones are stupid. We're laughing. We're in theater laughing. So go back to Alfred Hitchcock. Go back to some early foundations of storytelling and get a classic vibe to it. Take it around. Make it look classy. I don't know if it could make an old school, traditional, classic Hitchcockian vibe. My opinion. And use some of the older actors that have been in the brand for some time. Yes.
That would be me. Thank you very much.
Let's bring back the vintage guys.
I do get my senior discount at Denny's.
Yes.
Social security checks come in. There's a good
What
one.
do you think, Tom?
For me, I'd love to see him forget everything that happened after 7 and then do a 35-year later with CJ and I coming back and it's the 13th, because there's some great people are sending me some great scripts.
Storyline,
Yeah.
Not being it too.
And, yeah,
Don't forget two. I was doing it and you were like, in Hollywood, running up and down the hills.
probably in high school still.
I mean,
I did it when I was 24, so I don't.
I don't know where you were in the 80s. I believe the movie came
Does
out
anybody
in the,
know?
I would say the mid 80s.
What year did?
I'd say mid 80s, but I'm
86
dysfunctional
for,
with age,
part
with
6.
time.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
I will tell you that, I listen to a lot of people ask that question about where the franchise should go, so I'll just give you some of the answers I've heard that I endorse, I think are interesting. I think if Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Miller should come to terms just to shoot this one film and get it out, instead of fighting, put everything into a trust until they're done fighting. That way the fans that have made the franchise and those hundreds of millions of dollars get what they deserve. So I think that's an important feature. You don't have to settle on who's right or wrong, just trust it, all right? And sometimes you got 100 million in the bank, you might go ahead and flip a coin this time, you know what I mean? And then I think secondarily would be fun if some of the Jasons and others had bit parts in it where they get whacked by the new Jason. So I'm driving the bus as CJ, and guess what? He's got my ass whacked by the new Jason, who then takes the throne. So I mean, there's been some really good conceptual ideas that I've heard from Tom and other actors and actresses. And then Tom McLaughlin has written another script, and I know he's doing the best he can to talk about it out there. Where it goes, it really comes down to Mr. Miller and Mr. Cunningham. It is their show, their movie, right, wrong, or indifferent. And hopefully they'll work it out for all of us, because we're all part of this franchise, this worldwide iconic image that nobody thought of 40 years ago, when he was 20.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
I-
Whoa!
38 years ago. when I was
Now
20.
people must say, how old were you when you did that? When did that come out?
I
Oh,
think it was 20, right?
oh, they come out in 1990. Oh, okay. They saw it for the first time anyway on DVD or Blu-ray. It's not like they went to the theater when it come out. They weren't even born when it come out. Oh, I don't know. Well, how old were you when you did it? Ah, God, I just.
So, true story. I mean, let me ask you a question, and we'll play classroom. How many people here are 35 or older?
All right.
Now, my point is, how many of you are under 35? It's a 50-50.
That's the thing.
You see what I'm saying? Those of you that raised your hand second weren't even a squirt. You weren't even a thought in somebody's mind. So when I say I'm humbly appreciative, I mean that. 3 decades later, you weren't even a dirty diaper. You know what I'm saying? So this is the cool part about it. It's just so.
And
wow.
the game too. The game is all the kids can play the game, but they shouldn't see the movie.
A lot of kids love the video game.
And it's creating a whole new Jason fans, and it's amazing.
This brand is so iconic. Kids come up to the table, they want a mask, and then you say, "Oh, you're a Jason fan?" Yes. Wow. Have you seen any of these movies? No. And the parents are nearby. No. But you love Jason? Yes.
Wow.
And you haven't seen any of them? Yes. Now, in the film industry, have you ever heard of somebody loving a character that they've never seen? And I guess it's the video gaming, it's the new era, it's all the merchandising of this character.
Mm.
And the toys are coming. You go, what? Love the toy. And you haven't seen any of the movies? No. But you love the toy? Yes. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And, we all know what a hockey mask is, so it's kind of interesting that the hockey mask got married to this character that has this kind of longevity, and everybody loves the character, whether they've seen it or not.
Yeah.
Which is rare. I mean, come on.
Sometimes I'm a waitress on the weekends, and sometimes I'll see someone come in with like a hockey mask tattoo, and I'm like, is that a hockey mask or is that Jason?
And what do they say?
It's 50-50.
Yeah.
It is.
Really?
It is. So when it's Jason, then we can have something to talk about.
I mean, she owns 2 of them.
I mean, they kind of robbed the foundation of storytelling. Shakespeare's Hamlet is all about revenge and the death of the father. Hello?
Yeah.
Because the uncle was screwing his father.
How do you know this?
His mother. And that's why they killed Hamlet's father. That's why the foundation was revenge of the death of the father. Well, what do you think Friday the 13th is? Oh, let's do revenge of the death of the mother.
Yep.
Well, hello. Did they reinvent the wheel? No. And there's a weird thing, like if people are killed for no reason at all, audiences like it.
Yeah. It's true.
Like if you kill somebody in a sleeping bag, whoop.
Oops.
It's crazy.
We're like, yeah!
Yeah. I'll kill a couple in a sleeping bag.
I do say this, and I use it as a kind of a gauge formula that, everybody, you go to Indy and show a picture of Tom Cruise, and everybody will say, hey, Tom Cruise, no doubt, thumbs up. They'll say George, Mr. Clooney, thumbs up, Mr. Clooney. But you show them a picture, of Tom or me, they'll look at you like we're goofy. But if you show them a picture of a hockey mask with Jason, they'll go, Jason, Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
They're not going to necessarily recognize the mugs, but as soon as you're associated with Jason, Friday the 13th, they know who you're probably playing. You were Jason? You were in the movies, you killed Jason? Tom? I mean, it's kind of interesting when you think about it. And Tom said it earlier, I meet a lot of actors and actresses that look at me and go, I would have never put a hockey mask on or covered my face as an actor or actress. And you guys sit over there and you just have fans after fans, and you wear a hockey mask. And you didn't say nothing. I mean, I can speak, obviously, but you didn't say nothing. You just, effed them up.
Can I tell them one story that's very memorable with being part of this brand? I'm one of the few Jasons you're going to talk to that was involved before it was well known.
Yes.
Before there was any notoriety or fanfare, nothing. So I'm all excited. We got Friday the 13th Part 2 coming out. Oh, great. It's in New York. We're going to all go to Lowe's on, 84th Street,
Where?
Lowe's, Manhattan. New York City?
It's a hardware store, Lowe's.
Lowe's, the
Like,
theater.
Home Depot.
Lowe's theater. Anyway, it doesn't matter. A friend of mine was doing a bunch of PR work for Andy Warhol at this time. So they want to come. They want to come to my after party. They want to come to the premiere. They want to do the whole thing with me. So this guy comes. He brings Andy Warhol. And at the time, Andy Warhol was a nutball. And I didn't know a lot about contemporary art at the time. It's like, yeah, Andy, nut. White hair sticking straight up in the air. Oh, he made Campbell soup cans, put them on the wall. Oh, a BFD. I mean, who cares? Bring him. We'll get him shit-faced, and we'll all go to the premiere, and he'll come to my after party. Great, now I'm rolling Andy Warhol. Oh, great. Yeah, you want to go to Studio 54? Oh, great. We'll do it all. Andy who? So, of course, he asked me the question. He was blown away by it because he loves to hang around different people known. Andy says, I'll do a big Jason image for you. An acrylic on canvas. We'll do a big one. Jason, the face, this, the brand. An acrylic on canvas by Warhol. And at the time, I thought he was a nutball, and I said, no thanks. No thanks. Well, I don't need to tell you what that would be worth today. If you had a Warhol in the closet that he made you, I kick myself every day about that. Every damn day. Particularly when I run into a friend of mine that was a muse in New York, and she bought the triple-headed Elvis for like 50 grand. What do you think it's worth today?
Millions.
You say a couple. I tell you now, it's worth about 40 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God, yeah. So anyway, so that was my Andy Warhol story with Friday 13th. So the brand was not known, Jason was not known, and Warhol wasn't known.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
That's great stuff.
I got one final question for you three, and that is, do you guys have anything coming up, any upcoming projects or things that have just come out that you want to talk about? We can start with Thom, or...
I did a Western, and then we did the Never
He
Hike
Drinks
Alone
Blues,
series. We're doing a
That's the
sequel
one
in September, hopefully, if the COVID thing shuts down, and then another thing called Killer Therapy. I just got talking to a couple of people about 2 different horror skips right now. So
Is that the one you sing in, drinking in?
yes,
Yes.
No,
You
I
told
know.
me about this,
The
that's what I'm
Western.
asking. Yeah.
I tried to. I said, please don't make
What
me
was the
sing.
song again? I remember you told me.
Come
on.
Rye whiskey.
Dry whiskey.
Whiskey,
Can we have
rye
an
whiskey. But that was a lot of fun. Westerns are a lot of fun. Horses.
I'm his agent, okay, I got this.
Martin?
I mainly work in real estate, but my main goal right now is I've been in this business long enough. I probably joined SAG like before some of you were born. But anyhow, I have a project that I've been determined to produce. I know CJ's heard a lot about it. Unfortunately, my father in real life, oddly, he has a mysterious and sudden death on Friday the 13th. So, I then sat back, and of course you're blown away when you lose a parent. That's one of the most shattering things in your life. What are the odds of my father to have lunch and drop dead on Friday 13th? So I sit back, I'm blown away. I observe all the circumstantial evidence following this mysterious and sudden death. It was in Palm Beach, Florida. And then I decided to make a positive out of a negative. And so I go right back to Friday 13th and said, you know what? I believe, and I have enough facts to prove it, that his wife, my stepmother, the bitch, whacked him. So she knocks him out and then goes to Europe with the Latin lover. And then comes back to town. So I parlayed my suspicions into a dramatic thriller set in Palm Beach, a nightmare in Palm Beach. Blood is thicker than money. Jason, this time, is going to get revenge over the wrongful sudden death of his father.
There you go.
And who are these conspirators? Okay? And what does this town represent, Palm Beach and Trump and all the billionaires, right? And all of their racist attitudes and this and that. So, this town, the blackest hearts and the beautiful blue waters of the Atlantic and the white sandy beaches are going to run blood red. And the title of this is called Bloody Social. You can go to the website, bloodysocialmovie.com. We have been developing it. We're going to produce it, and we're going to make it happen. And if any of you guys want to be involved, you can go to the website and hit me up. And we'll figure it out,
Terrific.
how you can be involved. BloodySocialMovie.com.
I'm there.
And yes, CJ's down. He's in.
So,
CJ, you go, man.
I don't mind being the closer. In January of last year, before we had the pandemic, I finished 13 Fanboy with Deborah Voorhees, K&R, Lower Park Lincoln. Dee Wallace has the lead in, so I know it's shelved, ready to go. So we'll see how that comes out. Tommy and I have both done fan films. Tommy worked with Never Hike Alone. I always got to pump him up because he's my partner in crime. I did a film called Vengeance, where I played Elias Voorhees, Jason's father. That's why I'm growing a beard, because in 2 months they're doing part 2. So I need to get my beard back for playing Jason's father. But we've had the pleasure of working with.
I was also in Vengeance too.
Yes.
My image was in Vengeance.
I burned it.
Yes, he did.
I did. So
Cursing me.
Yeah, I got a picture of him burning it on the campfire. But my point is, we both had a couple projects that were related to the Friday the 13th, because again, there's been nothing out there for about 12 years now, and the fans are just dying. I guess it's no pun intended, to see something. So I'm kind of excited about in the end of June to finish up, and they put a long wig on me, and I get all,
Kind of man you up a little bit, huh?
yeah, a little bit. So, yeah. But we'll see where everything develops. I mean, there are a lot of projects that I'm finding out that are available unbeknownst to me, and I'm just kind of like enjoying it, because it's a priority to enjoy myself and have some fun at this age and just enjoy the folks. Get to meet y'all, and again, hanging out with these men and the ladies that I get to meet up here on the stage all the time. It's just it's a good experience.
Terrific.
Awesome.
Well, everyone, please give it up for.
Thank you, everybody.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Bloody social movie.